Okay, Chair, we're recording.
Thank you again. And okay, so we're taking the next item, 6 urgent items. Capital Program Variation 20/2021. The leader to present this item, please, Councillor Sam Rollins.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I expect this item to be fairly brief, but an urgent item has been shared with all members, which you should have had access to. As you'll see, it's in relation to a variation to the capital programme for the year we're in now. I'll just read off some of the bullet points that are in here. So variations to the capital programme for this year were reported to Cabinet in January and in Council earlier this month. But since that last report, Welsh Government have awarded us with additional grant funding, which is good news, for specific projects, which are over £500,000. So I just wanted to bring them to Council for approval today. So what are those? So 1.3 says that, well, gives a bit of description around these. So we have the Old Colwyn Coastal Defence Scheme, which had an original estimate of £3 million, reported in the latest capital programme progress report. However, and here's the good news, we have been awarded a grant of over £6 million from Welsh Government Transportation through its 2021 Resilient Roads Fund, and an additional £3 million from the local transport fund. So this grant is for the construction of the coastal defence and active travel improvements at the eastern end of Old Colwyn, following on from the recently completed splash point works. So we have a variation of over £6 million on the previous amount reported, but it is a positive variation in that sense because it's grant funding. And as we know, that section of the promenade in Old Colwyn has been a key strategic area of focus for us. So I think it's worth certainly thanking our officers for the efforts in raising the profile of that and getting the scheme of works together for that piece of work. And further to that, Welsh Government have also been supportive of us moving to a low carbon economy. As part of this, they've awarded us with funding to purchase 6 ultra low emission vehicles in this year in a sum of over £1 million. And those low emission vehicles are for some of our recycling wagons, hence the cost of them. So again, that will help in terms of our capital programme, but also in terms of our green agenda, which we've been pushing on, of course. So the recommendations at 2.1 are for us to approve the variations in the sum of £7.155 million. I want to jump down to paragraph 3.5 briefly, because of course we are just around, I don't know, 2 weeks left of this financial year. So a question could be, how are we going to spend £7 million in a couple of weeks? 3.5 explains that Welsh Government have the funding available for distribution in this year and have agreed that a payment can be made to the approved contractor where there's a contract in place and an invoice has been issued to cover the value of the works. And the work on the scheme will be completed over the next year to safeguard the money paid. So, so just some assurance for you that we have a plan in terms of being able to spend this additional money over the course of the next 12 months or so. Before I just come on to recommendation, I think it's also worth noting that literally just before this meeting started, so around about 12 o'clock today, we have also received a further grant in addition to this of £4 million to support similar works in terms of the at the Old Colwyn site on a section of the promenade again, but that's for the next financial year. So it's not part of this report today because this is talking about this financial year. But in terms of that further good news, in terms of we've been able to attract that funding from Welsh Government for these schemes, I think we should be pleased with what's been passed through to us for this capital work. So I'll go back to recommendations, Chair, really quickly. for us to approve the variations to the capital programme 2021, the sum of £7.155 million. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. That is good news. Thank you very much, Councillor Owens. Councillor Gronwy-Edwards, please.
Yeah, I'm happy to second the recommendation and welcome the announcement of this extra funding. Very pleased, and not being one to look a gift horse in the mouth.
Are you there? We
The only-
lost.
Yeah, the only concern,
You're breaking up, Councillor Edwards.
I'm sorry about that. My connection seems to. The only concern I have is our criticism is that the lateness of the announcement, but that's no reason why we should refuse the funding. But it is the actual delivery is always a challenge, and certainly we need to work closely with our contractors and the construction industry out there to make sure that we can deliver these very important projects. So I welcome the funding and happy to second it.
Yeah, thank you. Hear that, especially when Gareth Edwards and his team been working really hard on the coastal defence. So at least we have a plan that, and that's probably why they know they have the confidence in Conwy County Borough Council that we will spend it on time. Councillor Ken Stevens, please.
Thanks, Chair. Just a question to Sam, really. Sam, this active travel group, are they taking over the work of Sustrans?
It's probably better for somebody else to answer that. Is Councillor Gregg here? Might be able to respond.
Councillor Gregg, do you want a response to that?
Yeah, no. Sustrans is still its own entity, but it's another bow in the rainbow of groups that are involved. But there again, everything that's supporting our active travel aims, I'm very pleased to welcome. To be truthful, Councillor.
Very good. Okay, thanks, Greg.
Okay, Councillor Cheryl Carlisle next. You've been working hard for that, haven't you?
Thank you, Chair. I think you were expecting me to pop up here today, weren't you?
Yes.
I'd just like to say a massive thank you on behalf of myself and Councillor Bryan and the residents of Old Colwyn and the wider area. It's only taken 13 years of my time, but others have been going at this much longer. Thanks to our officers, fantastic, and to Councillor Gregg, an amazing achievement, and hopefully this will be a sustainable flood defence now for the next however many years. So thanks to all involved. Great,
well done. Councillor Greg Robinson.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to comment, obviously we're very pleased to receive this funding, and it's a massive project overall, and this takes us further towards the conclusion of it. I just wanted to point out that obviously we're still chasing down funding for various, so it's not just Old Colwyn, so I didn't want any members to think their area is not being equally looked after, just in case this has come through at this time. The one bit I'm very pleased to see is the funding for the electric recycling vehicles. We've actually been working with the manufacturer of the vehicles to try and develop a specification that is ideal for this type of one. It'll be the first of its type, I think, in Wales, certainly. So very pleased to receive that forward.
Well done, thank you very much. The last speaker is Councillor Mike Priestley, please.
Well, thank you, Chair. I too welcome the funding. You know, it's been a long time. I remember when we were saying we wanted money off Network Rail and Welsh Water, and because we were and Trunk Roads, because we were protecting their assets as well. But we are where we are, and we welcome the funding. Can I just clarify that? Are we saying that we're going to pay the contractor before the work starts, and what safeguards are in place, or what due diligence has been taken? You know, if for example the contractor went bust, what would happen? Have I got my head around that correctly?
I think so. The question is understood. I think we had a report on that. Anybody wants to come in? Have we got?
Shall I answer that one?
Go on.
It's Sandra here. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay, so when we let the contract, we issue a bond at the same time. So this bond is an insurance. So we pay the contractor the money, but we also pay a bond at the same time. So should something happen to the contractor and they go into default, the issuer will pay us the money back for the works that haven't been completed. So we will get the money back.
Thank you for that clarification, Sandra. I wanted to ask that question because we're being recorded, and just didn't want people to think that we're just going to give money away willy-nilly. So there's safeguards there, and I thank you for that.
Well done, Mike.
Thank you, Councillor Mike Priestley. You've been, I think, at the beginning of the project for Colwyn Bay. So yes, thank you all. I think that's said. I don't see any other hands up. So if we have had a proposer and seconder. Can we go to the vote, Sally? Are you going to do roll
yeah, this
call
will
on
be a
the-
roll
oh,
call vote.
yeah, okay.
So I will read out your names. So 4 against and abstain. Apologies if I read out anyone's name who's left. I think a few people have gone, but it's hard to keep track. Councillor Penny Andow.
4.
Councillor Mark Baker.
4.
Councillor Carol Beard.
4.
Councillor Frank Bradfield.
4.
Councillor Phil Capper.
4.
Councillor Cheryl Carlisle.
4.
Councillor Chris Cater.
4.
Councillor Jeff Corrie.
4.
Councillor Sam Cotton.
4.
Councillor Goronwy Edwards.
Obliged.
4. Yeah.
Councillor Louise Emery.
4. Well, the plan
Councillor Julie Fallon.
is 4.
Councillor Pat Hebron.
4.
Councillor Andrew Hinchliffe.
4.
Councillor Chris Hughes.
4.
Councillor Ronnie Hughes.
4.
Councillor Alan Hunter.
4.
Councillor Ian Jenkins.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Gareth Jones.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Abdul Khan.
Light.
4. Councillor Peter Lewis.
4.
Councillor Ivor Lloyd.
Obliged.
Councillor Sue Lloyd Williams.
Obliged.
4. Councillor James Listed.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Anne McCaffrey.
4.
Councillor Charlie McCoubry.
4.
Councillor Don Milne.
4.
Councillor Roger Parry.
4.
Councillor Mike Priestley.
4.
Councillor Dave Rees.
4.
Councillor Greg Robbins.
4.
Councillor Austin Roberts.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Liz Roberts.
Obliged.
4. Councillor John Roberts.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Sam Rowlands.
4.
Councillor Harry Saville.
4.
Councillor Sue Shotter.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Nigel Smith. Councillor Nigel still here? No, I don't think so. Okay. Councillor Bob Squire.
Obliged.
4. Councillor Ken Stevens.
In favour?
Councillor Adrian Tansley.
4.
And Councillor Joan Vaughan.
4.
Yeah, that's unanimous, Chair.
Brilliant, that's carried. Well, you'll be all glad to know that is our last meeting of this financial year. So do have a good weekend, members, and thank you to all who attended. I know some of you can, because normally we have it on Thursday, but due to the by-election, we had to have it today. So thank you all and have a good weekend.